Today is a very auspicious day, Disappearance Day of one of prominent disciples of Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Saranga Goswami Thakur, Srila Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj. He appeared in Nityananda's family, that dynasty, and in their family, when you go those Gosai, they're all called like Goswamis. He was also having very good job, but he surrendered to Prabhupada and came to the mat, in short I'm saying, and he was one of the prominent collectors for the mat. One was our Parangurudev, another was Nemi Maharaj and Gosai Maharaj. They were collecting. You will find in Srila Bharati Maharaj's book many anecdotes how he used different techniques to benefit jivas, that they will offer something for the service of Krishna, and how bold he was in preaching. And Prabhupada also sent him in the second, first he sent Srila Bon Maharaj and Tirtha Maharaj and one brahmachari, but second round he sent Srila Prakrita Prabhu, that time not yet sannyasi. Gurudev told us that Prabhupada, he chanted on japamalas himself and gave those japamalas to Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj. If he will find any sincere soul means inclined to serve Krishna, that is sincere. Deceitfulness is having any other desire, because that is not natural. Sincere soul does not mean one who is speaking truthfully. What is the price of this car, or like this. Sincere soul means one who is in the service of Krishna, because that is sincere, natural. So he was carrying those malas. In between, Prabhupada disappeared. But when he was there, I told many times before, because I heard many times from his grand disciple, one that Srila Sadhu Maharaj, he told me almost every day that when he was in London preaching, then he saw that these people, they don't have faith in deity. So how I will teach them about Mahaprabhu's teaching? Deity worship is included. So he was very worried about this, and he was crying to Prabhupada, please help me, you send me here. These people don't have faith in deity. How I will make them understand? Like this he was praying whole night. Then, and crying. Then, next day when he was going to chant little japa walk, then he found in park there, he found Vishnu Murti, that Vasudev Murti. And he came near, means self-manifest, that Krishna appeared there in that form as deity. And when he came near, then Krishna told him, you don't worry, you just show them, you show me to them, then they will believe. Don't worry. So he did like that. He put that deity in that Vasudev Gauriya mat, and gradually people, they start to come and worship and accept it. So not ordinary person. You will find many nice anecdotes there. We were reading, and in previous years, or for his appearance day, and he also opened many mats. You know, in Mayapur you were there, that Nandanacharya Bhavan, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu first met, just little right from our mat. And when you enter that temple, immediately after you enter, on the left side, it is his Samadhi Mandir there. And also in Imli Tala, he made a very nice mat where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting Japa Mala while he was in Vrindavan. At that time, that was a bank of Jamuna. So he was sitting under that Imli tree and sing Jamuna and chanting Harinam from morning till noon. Then he would take some prasad. So I want to read to you on 7th February 1929. This is one article written by Srila Bhakti Saranga Goswami Thakur in his daily magazine, that Nadia Prakash. It was written in Bengali, 1929, in praise of his disciple. That is, that time already he gave him this title, Bhakti Saranga, as Gaur Ashirvad, that blessing of Mahaprabhu. And later, when Prabhupada disappeared, then he was the first to take sannyas from Srila Sridhar Maharaj and got the name Srila Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj, keeping that name of Prabhupada and Goswami, because now we will see why. Because as I told, those families from Advaita or Nityananda like this, they're always calling themselves as Goswami, like surname, like or like a title they are having. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj also revealed him that place there in Mayapur, that Nandanacharya Bhavan, where Mahaprabhu Nityananda met, and also Nityananda hid there, and Advaita hid there, and Mahaprabhu hid there. That is a place of hiding for a very nice, very sacred place, a very important place. So then Sridhar Maharaj gave him that place. You establish mat here. So this is the article translated from Bangla. In the great land of Bharat, means India, from distant Kashmir, near the high peaks of the Himalayas, to the banks of the Indian Ocean in south, who does not know Bhakti Saranga Prabhu? You have to know that this is Guru speaking about his own disciple. Shri Bhakti Saranga Prabhu is the brightest jewel in the lineage of Shri Nityananda Prabhu. His detachment is the full manifestation of the path preached by Shri Nityananda. Although he adheres to the scripturally ordained duties of a householder, he is a genuine Goswami and naturally detached from everything unrelated to Krishna. So yesterday we also heard about Srinivas Acharya. He was also ordered by Mahaprabhu 2 times to get married. So that is not wrong. Wrong is if enjoying spirit is there, but if it is for the service of Krishna, then it is perfect. And those who are pure household devotees, they also can be called as Goswamis. They can be acharyas, also everything. So here Prabhupada is writing, although he adheres to the scripturally ordained duties of a householder, he is a genuine Goswami and naturally detached from everything unrelated to Krishna. It is not like that only someone who will take white cloth, like as a Babaji, that only such can be detached person from everything unrelated to Krishna. Sometimes someone is outwardly looks like detached, but has many desires hidden inside. But in this case, it was not so. Every quality appreciating servitor in Sri Chaitanya Mat and the 28 primary mats of Sri Gauriya Mat greatly respects him. Every Gauriya preacher and the numerous supporters of the Tridandi preachers from the ocean to the Himalayas, throughout the land of the Aryans, means India, and the south, know of Sri Bhakti Saranga Prabhu's eloquence and capability in Sanskrit, English, and Bengali. Nearly every single fortunate resident of Gaura, means Bengal, has seen more or less his holy character, his pure heart's ecstasy, his earnestness for Krishna, and his profound love for Sri Gaura Sundar. With his assiduousness, this I don't understand. I will see in dictionary, assiduousness. Assiduous, very like working, showing great care and perseverance, working. In Slovenian language, prizadevni zauzet delavan. With his assiduousness, his constant, all-rounded endeavors from dawn until midnight for the benefit of the society of Gaudiya Vaishnavas, his unparalleled spirit of dedication to Krishna and his devotees, he is fulfilling his name Atula, which means unparalleled, because before his name was Atula Chandra. Atula means has no parallel. Tula means same, but Atula is no, not same. He has wiped away the moon's imperfection and replaced them with the immense light from the moon of Krishna Prema's soul path. Thus, by reproaching even the pleasant shining moon, his position as the unparalleled moon, means Atula Chandra, amongst Gaura Chandra's exclusive followers has been realized. Again, he has wiped away the moon's imperfections and replaced them with the immense light from the moon of Krishna Prema's soul path. Because this moon has some spots, so those are imperfections. But he replaced them with the immense light from the moon of Krishna Prema. Thus, by reproaching even the pleasant shining moon, his position as the unparalleled moon, his name Atula Chandra, amongst Gaura Chandra's exclusive followers has been realized. He is the teacher of worshipable Vaishnavas. He is the sole reformer of the Rishi's laws. His heartfelt endeavors are the enlivening energy of Sri Chaitanya Math's Institute for Spiritual Education. He is a genius amongst the Goswamis, and himself is a genuine Goswami. Goswami means, Prabhupada explained there in Upadeshamrita, one who has full control over his senses by constant engagement of these senses in the service of Krishna. He is only Goswami. The pure devotees have heard that he is renowned to be Bhakti Saranga, meaning the embodiment of the essence of devotion. On account of his expertise and excellence in devotion, seeing the beauty of his holy lotus feet, of this great transcendentalist, the world of pure Vaishnavas is enchanted. He is the secretary of the Sri Vishwa Vaishnava Raj Sabha. He is one of the editors of Sri Gauriya Math's Srimad Bhagavatam. He is an exemplar in the world of pure Vaishnavas, a follower of the Sri Rupanuga Vaishnavas, and thus worshipable to the Lord. So This was written by Guru about his disciple in 1992. Then in 1936, Prabhupada sent him to preach to London. And I want to read one article. Last time we were reading one. Today I want to read one his article. You will see how nice, really nice English he has. Not only English, the thing is that is transcendental sound, whatever pure devotee is writing for the satisfaction of Krishna. This article is named God Realization. To err is human, means to commit mistake. To commit error. To err is human. However learned and intelligent a man may be, he is prone to error and evil. The greatest philosopher should always remember that human nature is apt to make various errors at every moment, especially when we try to judge that which is spiritual and eternal using our empiric knowledge, means experience of this world. By this experience we try to judge that which is spiritual and eternal. Reason is undoubtedly the greatest of all human excellences, but it has its own jurisdiction. Nature has indeed favored some persons with superior powers of intellect. Yet, our mind is always prone to change. We accept a theory today and reject it a few days later. Everyone experiences the fallacy of theories established by renowned men. Some mistakes are there, fallacy. The great differences in quality we often perceive between works crafted by the mind of the same man should discourage dogmatism. Again, the great differences in quality we often perceive between works crafted by the mind of the same man should discourage dogmatism. Dogmatism means like something like established truth, but we see that they are also changing their theories with time. Same man. So one cannot accept anything as like a dogma, as like perfect Siddhanta, because we see that they are changing. The great difference in quality. The condition of the human body varies according to the time and weather, undergoing more transformations than the moon itself. So also must the state of the mind rise and fall like mercury in a tube. 1 hour the mind is as pure as ether, and the next moment it is as foul as the thickest fog. Where then is the reliability of the human intellect? Where are the grounds to boast its prowess? This fickleness of the mortal frame, this instability of human wisdom should teach us humility and abate our pride. This point is overlooked by many philosophers, most of whom are found to be strongly prejudiced in favor of their own preferred opinions. Prejudice, predsodek is this in Slovenian, prejudice or prepossession generally stands like a stumbling block in the way of justice and does not allow our reason to look beyond it. It is this fatal propensity that shamefully misleads our judgment. To avoid being led astray by such a dangerous error, we must be very careful to deprive ourselves of acquired prejudices and hear impartially before we pass a sweeping remark on any subject. It is admitted on all counts that the powers of the mind depend upon the organs of the body, which alter over time. The mind, being inseparably connected with matter, cannot proceed beyond material phenomena. It therefore has no access to the spiritual world, the door to which is shut to all who want to enter with their prepossessions or dim light of worldly wisdom. Dim light is that not very bright, small, that means like a covered, filtered. Covered, like, so we cannot enter there. The rules and laws of the material world have no access in that world of eternity. Material time and space have no place there. Material senses cannot approach that realm. Who can set landmarks to delimit its dimensions or find plummets to fathom the depth of that mighty, mysterious existence? What numbers can express and what line can measure the lengths and breadths of that eternal world? You cannot measure that or count. That is of different category. Atheist, not atheist, but theist means theist cannot help but conceive of a single spiritual supreme being present in this spiritual realm of eternity, in spite of all that the most obstinate atheist can say and devise through his own doubts. Atheist, he may give so many arguments, doubts, all these things, but one who is theist cannot help but conceive. He sees that supreme spiritual being in that spiritual realm. Be you the greatest intellectual giant, the most learned scholar, the best orator, or the single most experienced man in the world. You will have to stop dead at the gate of the divine sphere of spirit and seek counsel of sound judgment as how to proceed. So how much we may have in this world, it will be of no use at the gate of divine sphere. There you will have to take counsel how to proceed. This will not help you there. You will have to drop everything before you face that world and submit fully to the process of instruction. This is called civil death, and it qualifies you to receive a glimpse into the mysterious principle of spirit. Like Hegel, philosopher, also said, you have to die to live. Means you have to die this present ego and your experience and all these things in order to live in that world in your real ego. This is called civil death. So first you have to die this worldly all qualifications, everything, and it qualifies you to receive a glimpse into the mysterious principle of spirit through submission. A light may be useful to help us find something in a dark room, but it is of no use when the sun shines brightly upon us. It is simply ludicrous to try to see the sun with the help of a light, which owes its very origin to the sun. As in Vedas it is stated, all sources of heat and light in this universe are said in the Vedas to originate from the great celestial body of fire, the sun. What is self-effulgent? Like sun, he reveals himself by his own will, without the support of anything or without any instrument, nothing. God is self-effulgent. His will is the only way. So his powers are identified with his person. In the material sphere, there is a difference between a person and his powers, and between an object and its attributes, name, form, and movements. But it is a spiritual truth that anything that is spirit is identical with its name, form, attributes, and activities. Most Western philosophers have identified the mind, as well as the perverted ego, with the soul or spirit, and therefore have failed to rise beyond matter and that which is related to matter. The demarcation line between the mind and spirit will be observed in the words of Krishna, the Lord of all Lords, in the Bhagavad Gita. Therein he says that 5 elements form the physical body or outer case of a being, namely solids, liquids, fire, air, and space. A further 3 elements compose the astral body or inner case of a man, and these are the mind, the intelligence, and the perverted ego. These 8 substances are related to the creative principle of matter, whereas the soul, which is an atomic fragment of the divine soul, is of a different nature. He is of an energy that produces beings. He here means Krishna, H capital. He is of an energy that produces beings who are spiritual in nature, but liable to be enthralled by Maya, his illusory energy, when they forget their true and innate position as eternal servants of the deity. God has infinite powers, but the scriptures describe the attributes of his powers in 3 divisions. 1. That power that exhibits spiritual existence is called Chit Shakti, and the spiritual kingdom is called Chit Jagat. 2. Maya Shakti creates the material phenomena known as Mayik Jagat. And 3. Jiva Shakti manifests souls who are naturally located between the Chit Jagat and Mayik Jagat, between spiritual world and material world. Such souls are so constructed that they are liable to be enthralled by Maya Shakti. They can be enthralled by. This is liable. This is the consequence of their desire for power when unaided by the Chit Shakti of the deity. Those who prefer to serve their master, Krishna, are protected from falling into the clutches of Maya and undergoing troubles as a consequence. They are thus admitted to the Chit Jagat as eternal servants. The soul, engrossed in matter, loses himself to his mind, which takes over the seat of its master, the soul, and acts through his senses to enjoy this world. In fact, the soul is the proprietor of both the mind and the body. When, by good fortune, the sleeping soul is made to turn back to hear, think of, or move towards its original position, the mind and body follow suit till the final objective of spiritual existence is attained. So now soul is a slave to mind and senses and is ruined in this world. But by good fortune, means Sukriti and Sadhu Sangha and Bhajan, then that soul will move towards its original position, and that time mind and body, they will follow that soul. They will be in favor. Till the final objective of spiritual existence is attained, then he will give up them, body and mind. The mind engrossed in matter is doomed to wallow in the mud of this world, whereas the mind liberated from all pressure of gross matter tends to go back to God, back to his home above. There is a wide gulf between mind and spirit that can only be bridged by spiritual cultivation. There are so-called great men or rational thinkers who deny the existence of spirit. But this truth is not subject to dry reason or barren arguments. It is only to be felt by sincere men as the intuitive truth, realized knowledge, truth. Here, intellect fails and submission to God triumphs. Vaishnava philosophers have discovered that all the mistakes we are guilty of making originate from 1. Error, 2. Inebriation, 3. The shortcomings of our senses, and 4. An inclination to deceive others, and by this our boldest and strongest thoughts are lost. These are these 4 mistakes which every conditioned soul has to commit mistake. Then inattentiveness and shortcoming of senses, imperfect senses, and cheating propensity to deceive others. We are seeing this so much in Kali Yuga. They are doing cheating others knowingly. We mistake infamy for renown and ruin for benefit. We mistake infamy for renown and ruin, what is ruin, for benefit. We misunderstand something when the brightest rays of truth shine in vain upon our mind. The senses we use for observation are always defective and incapable of giving us a perfect view of what we have observed. For instance, when our eyes look at a glass of water, we do not see any germs in the water unless and until a microscope is used, nor do we see in darkness. A general inclination for deception creeps into our heart when we take a one-sided view and establish facts or theories with the greatest assurance. Yes. All people are subject to fall victim to these defects. The only exception is God Almighty, and his associate counterparts who remain within the absolute truth. God is all-knowing, all-powerful, and all-blissful. He is omnipresent, omniscient, and omnipotent, and none like him can be found anywhere. He is one without a second. There is no one except him. And he possesses infinite powers. Out of his own supreme power and prerogative, means by his own will, he appears before us in his avatars, or in the deity form. He comes down from his ever blissful abode to this world in the form of man when we actually require his help. Sometimes he sends his parshadas, means associate counterparts, his personal associates, who are fully empowered to act here on his behalf. When theism is forced to give way to pantheism, like many gods, atheism, no God, skepticism, and agnosticism, then irreligion, unscrupulousness, it means in Slovene language, brezvestnost, unscrupulousness, and duplicity brings about chaos on earth. Sin and its consequences surge around us, tumultuously clamoring to have their way against our wishes, and we find ourselves in the midst of a whirlpool. He comes to save us from their clutches and re-establish peace and order. He may remain here and at the same time remain everywhere, both inside and outside the universe. Mutually contradicting powers and attributes live in harmony within him, ruled by his supramundane self. With all his paraphernalia, majesty, might, glory, beauty, wisdom, and supremacy, he reigns eternally in the spiritual world and exists simultaneously in every created object and place in his complete fullness. He is everywhere. Our Brihad Bharati Maharaj, I heard many times from, he always told us, why you are afraid? God is everywhere. When you can realize this, that God is everywhere, then there can be no fear. If you are surrendered to him and he's everywhere, he's omnipotent. So once you realize this, then you have no fear. But if you don't, then there is fear always in this material existence. The omnipotent author of nature is a supreme will unto himself and is above nature and her laws and rules, because everything has come from his will and power. Like Buddhists, they think everything is by natural laws. There is nothing superior than that. But the thing is that God is the author of nature and he can change her laws and rules also, as we saw in Prahlad Maharaj's case. When they tried to kill him with spears and those, then Krishna changed that law and rule. Because everything has come from his will and power. So one who is surrendered to Krishna, then he has no problem. The Supreme Lord Krishna Chaitanya is at the center of all spiritual and material phenomena. At that central point, harmony shines eternally with her all-beautiful Lord, the Absolute Truth. His injunctions are universally true at all times and must be universally relied upon. They are the embodiment in the Vedas, the Gita, the Upanishads, Srimad Bhagavatam, and other Sat Shastras, which must be accepted as the only evidence in spiritual affairs. Fortunate and blessed persons hear and obey them. They are not intended for any particular sect, caste, or creed, but for all beings and all souls, be they animal, human, or celestial. These injunctions are not based on partial or apparent truth, but on the absolute or unchallengeable truth. No one can challenge that. No one can change that. That is beyond influence of anyone. If brought to this platform by the grace of the Almighty, persons of conflicting interests and different sentiments become peaceful and live in eternal association with that transcendental being, a life of continuous joy, peace, and success in this world and the next. Even in this world, one who is fully surrendered like Prahlad, even in this world, he is in continuous joy, peace, and success, always. Harmony lays her hand on the contending parties and brings all their difference to an amicable conclusion. Friendly, they will. Our first question should be how to arrive at this platform. I cannot approach his divine abode if I am unaided by the spiritual light emanating from one who realizes the principle of spirit. Now comes the question of Sadguru, our spiritual guide, who is nearest and dearest to the Supreme Being. He comes to this world in the form of a man to save dormant souls from the clutches of Maya, to infuse divine power into every man, to navigate through life victoriously and successfully, and to give every erring being, means one who is committing mistake, erring being, the power to be reinstated to his former position with all the rights and privileges of such a position. That is, eternal service of God. We can get. We did mistake, but we can correct that mistake by the grace of Sadguru. Generous friends, do you feel the need of such a friend, staunch and true, who will stand by you through thick and thin, who will give you power to win when you are strongly tempted to wrong, either in accordance with or in contradiction to the dictates of your own reason and judgment. So when we are strongly tempted to wrong, either in accordance with or in contradiction to the dictates of your own reason and judgment, when you are tempted, then Sadguru, he will give you the power to win at that time. Our next question should be, where can I find our spiritual guide? How to get him to be interested in me? If I am sincere and true in my desire, he will reveal himself to me. He is ever ready to receive everyone who comes to him. Many have found him. Many are enjoying his friendship and living in close communion with him. I should express my willingness to obey him, and then I will become conscious that he has heard my prayers. The next moment I shall find him disguised before my eyes in a human form, a Mahanta Guru or Sat Guru. He welcomes me, means Krishna, he welcomes me with outstretched arms, and the gate to God's realm opens. Means here again I will read. If I am sincere and true in my desire, he will reveal himself to me. Means Krishna will reveal himself to me disguised as man or as a human form, in the form of Mahanta Guru or Sadguru. He welcomes me with outstretched arms, and the gate to God's realm opens. This was published in 1959 by Srila Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj, in English, original. So we are mistakes and we cannot rely on anything that is always changing and like this. The problem is we misused our free will and we are in trouble. We are sleeping. But by good fortune, by Sukriti, when that desire awakens within us to that sincerity that I should serve God, then Krishna himself will come in the form of Guru, who will give us all strength and everything to reach, to reinstate us in our former position, natural position, and to reach that always joyous life. So that is by the grace of Krishna in the form of Guru we can have. So Maharaj is one such personal associate of Krishna. So he very clearly explained what is the situation and how we can be rescued. So I am remembering his deity forum there in Mayapur, in that mat, Nandanacharya Bhavan, on the left side. If you go, I am bowing down to him and praying for his causeless mercy, for devotion to Krishna and his devotees. Tomorrow we'll further hear the injunctions of Krishna given in Bhagavad Gita.